Welcome to BIPOC Voices Georgina. My name is Kendra Shea Marie Mullings. I've lived in Georgina for a really long time and I absolutely love this community and all the people in it. But I have to admit, I was hesitant when first moving here. Georgina has a reputation in the wider York Region community. That discussion coming up on BIPOC Voices Georgina. I'm joined here with York Region social worker, social justice activist, and co-owner of Astra Wellness Consulting. Welcome, Josie Rose.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here today. I really wanted to have this discussion with you about York Region's reputation because you have a long history of working in York Region and specifically working with youth and families in Georgina. So I wanted your perspective on Georgina's reputation in the wider York Region community. But before we jump into that, tell us a little bit more about yourself and your connection to Georgina.
Okay, so as you said, I'm the co-founder of, or co-owner of Astra Wellness and Consulting.
Thank you for fixing that for me.
Yes, okay. And so I've had the privilege of working with a lot of families and youth throughout York Region, a lot of projects, and just learning about the different people in the different pockets of York Region, which has been fantastic. And doing that work as a social worker, as a case manager, social justice, I've been able to speak on and connect with a lot of people about what is going on within their certain neighborhoods and providing that support, whatever kind of support that they needed, and just giving a voice to a lot of the youth and families within these different sections of York Region.
And what have you found specifically are the experiences of the BIPOC people that live in Georgina that you work with? Are they feeling safe here, for example?
So I know when I first came to Georgina, my first exposure to Georgina, I was walking down, I think it's Baseline. Is that Baseline Road?
Baseline Road in Sutton,
yeah. And some people started yelling out of the car, don't know me anything, calling me the N-word, right? And get out of our town, right? And that was my first experience. It was really hard because, as you said earlier in your introduction, this is a beautiful, beautiful place to go. I used to drive here. I live in Markham, and drive up here just to go drive around.
Yeah, just
I didn't know where I was, right? But just looking at the water, looking at the houses, and it was a really nice place to be, right? I just feel calming. Like sometimes I did a lot of work here with families, and I just go by the water.
There's something about the lake here for sure that draws.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful place. But what I found, and listening to different people that are leaving the south part of the region of York Region to come up to Georgina just because of that, because it's so beautiful. Used to be very cheap. It's not cheap anymore to live here.
That's changed, right?
That's changed so much. But it was just that they didn't feel safe. Yeah. Right? They just didn't feel safe because you're dealing with people that never saw a lot of us up here. Right? It was new. Yeah. Right? I mean, I know they have the reserve, and they were able to see that Indigenous people, but Black people, South Asian people, maybe Asian people wasn't something that they saw all the time.
All the time.
Right.
So what kind of time period are we talking about? Was this 5 years ago? In your experience, how long ago?
When I first started, it was about 2013.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
2013.
Really not
that long ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when that first happened, and just seeing the migration of coming up here, and a lot of people just saying, I don't feel safe, right? Even the people that lived here, because I was supporting a lot of the families up here, and they're just like, there's nothing to do here in York Region, in Georgina, right? Which a lot of youth were getting in trouble, a lot of mental health issues that were happening.
Yeah.
The poverty rate is, like, when you talk about the poverty rate and housing issues that are happening, Georgina, Markham, and Richmond Hill have the biggest issues when it comes to poverty, homelessness.
You see it here in Georgina now?
And you see it a lot in Georgina now. And that's because of the infrastructure. There's not a lot of stuff in place.
Yeah.
Because the youth were I had the opportunity to go into a lot of the schools.
Yeah.
Just to talk to youth about how do you feel about living in York Region? How is your relationship with the school boards, with home, with the police, with different agencies out here?
It's the only way we're going to know, right?
And a lot of them are just, I don't love myself. I don't like myself. I don't, because we hear people talking about bad things about us. Yeah. Right? There's so many different myths. There's so many different stereotypes about people who live in Georgina. And so, and that was not even from the BIPOC community. Yeah. So you can imagine coming up here as a member of the BIPOC community, feeling that you don't belong. I know that's just it, right? Yeah. That feeling like you don't belong, and then the infrastructure. I like that you touched on that. When there's nothing in place that represents or reflects or even seems like thought has been given to the fact that you're here as well. Right. I'm so sorry that your first experience coming to Georgina was that. I've had that experience here, but I'd already been here for quite some time. And to be fair, I was marching through the streets, right? Yes. So I'm really sorry because I think what happens is a lot of people come up here and they come like you do. I used to do that too, to drive around and check it out. And it's so wonderful and beautiful up here. But in doing that, you're not meeting the community, you're not involved in the community. And the people that reach out to me that have moved here, now that they're here and they're going to school and their kids are going to school or they're going grocery shopping or whatever it is, it's a whole different ball game now that you're living here. Is there anything that you think from someone in your roles and your position in the wider York Region community, and you have so much access and work with our youth in Georgina, what sort of things should we be putting in place in terms of our town, our infrastructure to help to serve the BIPOC youth here specifically? Right. And I think the biggest thing is having services here in York Region. I'm sorry, in Georgina. Because when I was speaking to the youth, they said the only way I can get mental health supports is, I think you have family services up here in, I think it's on Warden or Kennedy. Oh, we do. Yeah, that's right. That's right. I wasn't sure what you were talking about. Yeah, I do now. Yeah. And a lot of people, just to get there, it's hard for them to get those mental health supports, right? And it's so funny how it's all connected, though, because I obviously know that about the transit situation here. I used to take it regularly, and how long it takes even to get somewhere that's a short distance if you were driving. But I didn't ever think about how that could tie into that mental health piece and access. Yes. Just access. Right. So there wasn't a lot of access. And then they said they had to go to Newmarket. Yeah. Right. And then, so that's a long bus drive to get to Newmarket. But because of the myths and the reputation that Georgina has, a lot of them didn't feel comfortable going into Newmarket, because they were thinking, nobody's going to like me, right? Nobody's going to, interesting. And it was really disturbing to hear that. Because, and what's kind of the age range of the youth that you're working with from Georgina, if that's okay to? It was from babies all the way up. Yeah, all the way up. So families and BIPOC families. The other thing that needs to be put in place when you talk about that is, I've gotten a lot of calls from families saying that they have to leave their homes because of the amount of racism that they're facing. I get those people all the time. People standing, and I think I sent some to you, saying that they don't feel safe leaving their homes, right? Because people would be actually standing outside their door calling them the N-word and saying it to the children, or the little kids. The one young lady who they continued to deliberately throw the dog poop. Right. Deliberately at them in their yard. This is in 2023. Yes, yeah. And that's what it's hard for me, because there's no housing out there. Some of these people were actually in subsidized housing, and to get into subsidized housing is really hard. and having to leave that to go into market rent housing. Now they disturbed their job. The kids had to be taken out of school.
Yeah.
A lot of mental health issues that were happening there.
And obviously food insecurity.
Food insecurity
around
right.
that.
So it disrupted a whole bunch of families, right? And it wasn't just one story. This is several stories that I've been hearing. And even for me, like I was going to get a job here at Family Services of York Region back in the day, and I was scared.
Yeah.
Right?
Why is that?
It was the same year that they had that, when that had that thing against that Asian.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that. I'm not going to throw out a year, but I know exactly what you're talking about. What was devastating to me about that was as someone who hadn't been here that long at that point, was the response from the community.
Right.
Because incidents happen everywhere, and from the city, things happen, right? But that the community was willing to. It seemed to me that they were almost okay with it, like it was almost acceptable.
Right.
That was really, really hard to watch. What were your thoughts on that situation from looking in?
Yeah, it was scary because I grew up in Markham, right? So I'm immersed in the different communities, right? And Markham's the biggest melting pot of all the different cultures, right? So I got to see all the different cultures, but that was new to me. Right? I just got out of school, I just graduated, and I was like gun-ho to do all this stuff. And then thinking of coming up here, it scared me.
Yeah.
So I think it's 2013, we're still dealing with all that kind of stuff. Hearing about the Confederate flags that have been flying here in the community. And again, as you said, it happens everywhere. But as I mentioned before, there's no supports here in Georgina for the different BIPOC communities, right?
Yeah.
If it's not people like you that are up here, I don't know who else that they can go to. Yeah. And so that's the biggest thing. Like, they don't know where to go. So and.
We're good that way as a community. I found from someone who lives here and works here, of people coming together when someone's in need or when something happens. But I think and I agree with it a little bit. You have to get involved. You have to spark it yourself. This is something I'm trying to impart to the BIPOC community. And I understand the fear and the unwillingness to come back out again and be vulnerable and be a part of the community. I get it. But it's what we need to do in order to be heard and to get the services and infrastructure that our youth need put into place, because it's not going to just be done for us. It's obvious, right? We're not a part of the equation when the planning is happening. Right. So we have to speak up and make ourselves a part of that equation. Right.
So, and that's where we have to say to, Georgina and their counselors and everything, we need space. Yeah. We need space for us to have, you run your Saturday schools and stuff like that, specifically for the BIPOC community, but we need space for people.
We need space.
Like
actual physical brick and mortar space.
Right?
Yeah.
We need funding. And I know there's a lot of funding from the region, but it's still hard to get, because if you don't have the space, you can't run the programs. Exactly. Right? And I know you did a lot of stuff out of your home, which is not safe, right? Because you're very, very engaged in trying to support the different community. And it's not even just the BIPOC. I know you do everybody, but it's
a lot of people here in town are. And what we need now, it's not just me. A lot of people here in town are engaged that way, with coming together as a community and helping each other, and not just one community, but all the communities getting support. But we need that infrastructure, that funding, those systems in place. And you said it so well, that sometimes brick and mortar, actual physical spaces for us to be. I want us to talk a little bit more in a bit about the programs and when York Region itself releases programs for the different communities within York Region, I find as a parent that I often am excluded from that. Hold that thought. I see your eyes light up. We're going to come back to it. This is BIPOC Voices Georgina. I'm here with Josie Rose. Stay tuned. We're going to continue this discussion in a moment. Welcome back to BIPOC Voices, Georgina. I'm so excited to continue my discussion with social justice activist and New York Region social worker, Josie Rose. Josie, we were talking about Georgina's reputation in the wider York Region community, and thank you so much for all the amazing information that you're sharing with our community. I think it's necessary for us to know in order to begin to move forward. I was saying that I noticed that when York Region rolls out programs for the different communities within York Region, which Georgina is a part of,
Yes.
it is,
Yes.
right? Yeah. I feel personally, like at a personal level, I can't speak for anybody else. I often feel excluded from that. As a parent of Black children, if it's for children, if it's a kids program, if it's a program for women, if it's a program for mental health, it's always like, oh, it goes up to Newmarket and stops there.
Right.
I'm not looking to you for the answer. I'm just looking to you to have some discussion with me from your perspective. Why might that be?
And I think that has to do with even the programming of the actual agencies that are here, right? And what they choose to offer. Because even in York Region itself, when you talk about certain agencies, they only have programs for certain communities.
Yeah.
Even if it's something from the BIPOC community, they still exclude Black, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's just because they put us on into the same pot as all the other things that they were trying to put together, not realizing that it's really unique. Because as you know, we experience racism, our anti-Black racism, every single day.
Yeah.
Right? The stories that we get from the different committees that I sit on, every single day, there is something happening within the school boards, within CAS, within the police. There's something going on in the health system. And it's not something that we can get out of, right? As a Black parent, you know, the minute we wake up, we're thinking about what do we have to deal with today? What does my child have to deal with today, right?
That's so true. And it's so heavy. The mental health piece is so important because it's really heavy. And we, as a community, have kind of become accustomed to carrying the weight to the point where we just kind of go on and smile and dance and carry on anyway. And I think part of that gives the idea that to others that everything is okay.
Right.
And I think that's why it's important for us to talk and have voice and tell our stories.
Right. And I think that story is being believed, right? And always trying to prove stuff, even though there's a countless amount of data and stuff like that, it's still not
It gets
taken
exhausting
seriously.
to stand up every day and tell the story, say the same thing.
And nothing's happening.
Nothing changes. There's no results. And it does, I feel, that it comes back to whether what you feel believed or not.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. And the typical supports that are out there doesn't necessarily, just like with Indigenous, we have a certain way of trying to get our healing, right? Trying to get that support.
Exactly.
It's a lot different from the European type of supports that are out there, right? We're community-based.
Yeah, we have our own way of being, and that is okay.
Right.
I mean, that's been the root of the problem historically, right? Is that our way of being is not okay, and the only way that's okay is one way of all the different ways of being. That's the root. Of all of it, and it doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
So now we need you to believe us when we share our experiences, so we can begin to actually move forward, right?
And I think it's just understanding like why, as a community, that we have a lot of issues, right? Because I think it's always seen as it's us, right? And a lot of the time it's because of the infrastructure, because of what is out there that's not working for us, right? Because it keeps us down.
And no one asked us. Like who's checking in and asking us, right? If you're in a position just take it even simple, as a mother, I have 3 children, they're 3 different human beings. When I want to present something to them, prepare something for them, I'm checking in to see what everybody needs, right? I'm a master at equity as a mother. Right? And that's what we need in the world. And you were saying, like, our culture is matrifocal, and we do have our own medicines and healings and way that we go about things, and it needs to be included and taken into account in the systems. Right?
And see ourselves in these different systems, right? And in these buildings. And that's where it's really important when you walk. I haven't been to was it City Hall that you guys call it here? Or
the
Virginia?
Civic Center.
The Civic Center. I don't know what it looks like when it comes to pictures or even artwork that they have up there. Does it show a BIPOC? Like, does it show the different cultures that are here?
It does not.
Right? When you go into the different community centers,
So these
that's
are
the things that we need to see.
These are things that that you're suggesting
Right.
from your roles and what you see in your interaction with our community, the marginalized people in our community. These are things that we can do. Representation really matters.
Right.
We're going to continue and come back to your final thoughts in just a moment. Stay tuned for BIPOC Voices, Georgina. Welcome back, Georgina. This is BIPOC Voices, Georgina. I've been having the most amazing and enlightening discussion about Georgina's reputation in the wider York Region community with Josie Rose. Josie, what kind of call to action or overarching message about the way Georgina is perceived in the rest of York Region? What do you want people living here in Georgina to know about the BIPOC community?
So for that, it's basically we have a lot to give, right? We have a rich community, and we're talking about, like I said, the BIPOC. So the Black, Indigenous, and people of color. We all have a rich life of being, and I just want people to understand that we have a lot to contribute. But we also need a lot of allyship. We need a lot of people when it comes to counselors, when it comes to community, to understand that, right, and to be there when we're not well, because of all the things that we're facing, to stand up. Right, when they see injustice, right,
to be upstanders,
right, and to help us be that voice, to talk to the counselors, talk to the mayor, and talk to York Region itself to say, we need programs, we need a lot of things here, we need brick and mortar. We need the community to say, they need that brick and mortar, right? We have it for everybody else, but we need it, right? And I think the other thing is the different people from the BIPOC community to really connect with each other. Come together. Because when I go to a lot of these different things from the different cultural groups, we're all saying the same thing. We're all saying the same thing, but I feel like everybody thinks that they're alone.
I think that's some of the mastery of the system in racism, though, is the messages we receive actually separate us, and we believe the stereotypes about each other.
Right. And I see that, like even what happened in Vaughan, like they were trying to separate everybody, right, when they were trying to deal with that school issue, right? So it's important that everybody gets along here, and that we're here, that we support each other and support our kids.
Support the kids.
We need to support the kids because they're our future, right?
Thank you so much, Josie.
Yes, you're welcome.
We got to support the kids. I hope you were listening, Georgina. I've been sitting here with Josie Rose. Thank you so much for tuning in to BIPOC Voices, Georgina.